Good. How about yourself? It's been a while.
Oh, it has. Living the dream, though. How are you doing?
Same. Pretty tired. Feel worn out. Don't know exactly why, but
AI. It's
probably
AI.
that's probably part of it.
Yeah. Oh, things are changing all the time. And, well, it's not a dull moment ever. Ever. I was just on vacation and living that lake life. I don't know if you can tell.
Let's see the hat. See the hat.
I bought this for my daughter, but it was too big. So I'm wearing it now. And yeah, I had Claude running like nonstop while I was on vacation,
I was gonna
which is
say,
always
was it
the sign.
really a vacation, or were you just hanging out somewhere else while you ran your robot minions?
you know, it got me out of some meetings, which is always a plus.
That is what a vacation is nowadays, isn't it?
It really
It's
is.
I'm just not gonna be at meetings anymore.
Yeah. Oh, how awful and wonderful and definitely awful. Yeah, it's I don't know. It was fun. I did a lot of stuff on like personal projects though, so at
That's
least it
good.
felt good in that sense.
That's what we're gonna talk about today, right? All the things you worked on.
I think so. Um, yeah, yeah. I think we, yeah. So I was playing around with a bunch of like just workflow things, trying to get things caught up and better. I've got some in progress things. Claude just got done with a 3 hour goal. I've been just sitting here while it's been going, playing Minecraft, but you know, uh,
What was the goal?
total rework of Dad. Not really, but a rethinking of it in some ways. Not in a
Okay.
bad way or in a crazy way. And honestly, I can't even tell the difference right now, but it's not working. Um,
Well, that'd be a little bit of a difference, right?
that might be, yeah, yeah. But it like it's a refocus on so I guess to catch people up on what Dad is it's a tool for doing git review or of doing code reviews, but in a way that gives you more insight as a human, like more context as a human into what's actually changing.
Yep.
And so then you don't have to like because other tools can do the code reviews and things like that, and then we don't have to worry about them too much in terms of like shipping bugs, or I mean you still definitely do, but that's not what this tool is about. It's about what how can I make the human more aware of what's going on and actually focus on the pieces that they should focus on.
Yep.
Oh, that's definitely the wrong window.
There you go. Infinite. I think I the thing I like to highlight about Dad, if I'm talking to somebody about it, is I think it fits really well in situations where you may not be the most up to date on what the code is even about,
Yeah.
because which I think is pretty common in your role, right? You're jumping from SDK to SDK, and it may not be the language of your choice, etc., or project to project. I do a lot of that at Arbel as well, where I'll hop into a project and hey, it's really easy to get going and make changes, right? With AI,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to
Mm-hmm.
know anything, but it's really nice to be able to like actually look at your code, and Dad allow kind of gives you that narrative around, hey, here's what was actually changing and why it was changed, or at least hopefully it covers why you changed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like that.
Yeah. So I just did a rework, and this is a pull request. It's the only one that's showing up in Dad right now for some reason. So I'm bringing it up, but this is from 9 years ago,
Oh,
and I cannot get rid of it apparently because I am tagged as a reviewer. But and this is still an open PR on Dojo CLI export,
yeah.
but the it's archived, so there's no actions I can do on it.
Actually, I
Uh,
wonder. You should tell Dad that if this like, there's got to
yeah,
be some metadata that he can be like, yeah, no,
for
I'm not
sure.
showing you this.
For sure. But right now, this is the one I have. But this is a good example because I have no idea what what this PR is
Too
doing.
bad you can't add Dylan as a reviewer.
Yeah,
Say,
I should. Um, yeah. So this is like the typical GitHub code review. You just look at, oh, I can see what changed in this file,
yeah,
and then I can see what changed in this file, and go through that, and piece things together in my brain.
And no
Dad,
context beyond maybe what they put in the initial tab. I forget what it's called, but essentially the actual pull request that they did.
right. Yeah. So this is Dad, and Dad, this is the updated version of it. Right now, this is the only thing that's showing up in here.
Yeah.
Um, and it's trying to give me more context as a human as to what is actually changing. So it gives me a summary, and then it breaks things up into chapters that I have to look at. And you have like the most important chapter first. I can click on that to go down to it. This is the highest risk change in here, and it tells me what is actually changing, and then why it thinks it's a concern. And it'll even ask me questions, and I can be like, "Oh, it looks fine," or I can ask Dad, and it'll do some agentic stuff to find out what's going on here. Um, and it just tells me that, so I can go through each of these. Now I'm into this one. Now the big difference that's happening in this file, and then of course once I'm here, if I could actually approve this, I'm sure it'll fail, but I'll just, why not? That definitely failed. um, the big difference in this version of it is, oh yeah, there's the error message.
Yeah.
um, the big difference is that this is now much more insightful. It's actually cloning and caching a version of the repo so that it can look at all of the code
Right.
that it
Not
needs to.
not just the diffs.
Yes. But it's also like its priorities are kind of retriggered from what's like, here's how to review all of this PR to here's where here's where human insight is probably needed and everything else is fine.
Yeah.
And so it's trying to like take massive PRs, massive AI generated PRs, and be like, human, you should probably be aware of this. Look at that. Get some context around it. I'll tell you why things are happening. I'll tell you the story of why this change is there. And then the rest of it, you can kind of trust the tools to do it. And I think that that's like where we're going with all of this. This is like more of a middle ground for
Yep.
for the world right now, because we're heading towards that. You know, do we need like that's the debate right now? Should we look at
We're
the
already
code? Should we
there.
not look at the code? I know.
Yeah, I mean,
There
pe
are times when I want to look at the code, and
yeah.
when I do, I want to focus on just the pieces that I'm actually needed for, because I've got so much other work to do.
So it would be so in this case, you highlighted Dad being useful on a PR, a large PR, right?
Yeah.
Giving you context on, "Hey, in this PR, this is the thing that you really should look at."
Mhm.
And that is absolutely a problem that I think tons of people are facing today. But I think probably the larger problem maybe that teams are facing today is not necessarily large PRs, just the number of PRs across, you know, a project and several projects.
Yeah.
So it'd be, can Dad, and if it can't, I'm sure it could be changed to do this. Can it prioritize those in the
Oh,
context of, out of all the PRs that you have on this list, here are the ones that have, you know,
you're the ones
major
that need
concerns that
you.
a human should be dealing with.
Yeah. I like that. Actually,
Yeah.
it doesn't do that right now. It just lists all of the ones that you are tagged as a reviewer, and it has to be explicitly tagged as a
Right.
reviewer right now,
Yeah.
which is not
I've noticed
great.
that.
Yeah. So I want to fix that so that it will show you anyone, like if you're part of a group that was tagged. Like I'm
Honestly, from the perspective of a, uh, I guess I'm a manager role, but I mean,
Mhm.
am I still very hands-on in the code, but I'm not hands-on in the code in every project. But it would be kind of interesting if I could have a tool that was like just highlighting things, going, "Hey, all of these PRs across your org, like these are probably ones you want to pay attention to." Even if I'm not part of it, I'm just this just in my org. Now that could be a big dollar sign, quite frankly. So you'd have to think through that and tweak it, but I
Mhm.
could see that being extremely beneficial.
Yeah. I like that. Hmm. I'll definitely, we should talk about that
Yeah.
more.
But I didn't
Um,
mean to derail your
no.
discussion on what it's doing because I've found it quite useful even now because like I said, I've had to jump into projects or I've had to build projects from scratch where I like to use this just so I can understand what okay, I asked you to build something. It functionally is doing what I wanted you to do, but I want to understand the code of what you were doing and why why this was chosen. And running this, even with the same model, it's a totally different context that's going over the code. It gives pretty good insight into like
Mhm.
what approach was taking, et cetera.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wanna be able to, like, from here, from this command center, I wanna be able to just, like, paste in a l GitHub link as well and have it go, so I
Yeah.
don't have to right now, with this, there's no way to get to any PR. It's only the ones I'm tagged in, and I would rather have a way to do that for sure. Um, but yeah, I think that could be interesting too, like
Also, the other thing that I thought would be useful, and I know you've talked about this before, is in-flight use of this tool.
yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah.
I don't wanna push PR. I'm doing the review locally before I push the PR.
Mhm.
I would like dad to go through it and be like, it's just a good view into what changed, etcetera.
Yeah. I agree. I want that, and I've been working towards it. The DX isn't there yet.
Yeah, no,
That's
it
what
can
I've
be
been
challenging.
focusing. Yeah. But I did want to point out some a contribution that you made to this project, and that is getting it to work on Amazon Bedrock.
Yeah, and it immediately broke right after Amazon or Opus 5 went out on Bedrock because it acts a little bit different than the one that Anthropic does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it automatically it at least on Bedrock, Claude seemed to think that it was not automatically turned on when you go directly to Anthropic, but on Bedrock, thinking was automatically on. You had to essentially say, "I want to disable this," and sending thinking would essentially cause the token max of what dad was doing to immediately hit and return nothing.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Wild. Well, yeah. So fun things coming in there. And this is like a good testing ground. Like, I don't know. This leads into the other projects I've been playing around with because I'm just trying to like completely rethink my workflow. And I like this is a big bottleneck for everyone, I think. And so this is just my test bed to play around with how to make that better and how and what I'm doing to make it better
yeah,
for myself. And hopefully it's interesting for other people as well. But yeah, I like it, and I think that this will be interesting. And I think you're getting onto something here with this. Like, if I could have this filter by like, oh, these are the ones that you actually don't need to review at all. Like, give it a score. You know,
right.
it.
Somebody did a documentation change
Yeah,
or literally it's the most clearest bug being fixed because there was a misspelled variable or something like that. Those
yeah,
we don't need to waste time on this.
yeah. That is a great idea. I think so. I will look into that. Because then, yeah, this becomes like, oh, I see, and like maybe I can I don't know. Is it would auto approve, like have an auto approve button on here be
Yeah,
controversial?
I would kill for that because I do spend a lot. It's odd because we there are things within certain audits that want each of the requests in certain repos to be approved by a human, right?
Mhm.
And there are some PRs that are like, okay, I spent 5 minutes clicking around to go and click a button to say yes, approved because you upgraded a version from, dot nine to dot to 10, right? And it's like we functionally know it works. We've already tested everything, but and that's slightly hyperbolic. It doesn't take me 5 minutes to go do that, but
Yep.
it would be a lot easier to do this.
Yeah.
So one thing I do like about I think that's important about your tools, and I forget, maybe you'll know where the video was. There's a tons of videos about where software engineering is going and where our interactions are important, right?
Mhm.
Our interactions are no longer important in the tedious portion of go write the code, right?
Yeah.
Our interactions are important in what's being built and how it should be built and clearly defining that so that
Yep.
way you can give it to an agent with the proper context to hopefully build what is in your mind's eye. And then the follow-up of that of, okay, I've got a lot of systems built around you to hopefully evaluate what you've built, but I still need to do some verification in most cases.
Yeah.
So tools helping there. So dad was definitely a tool on that side.
Right. The other tool that I've been playing around with and building is, and I just want to make sure I have the latest version of it. Oh my gosh.
Zero space getting in your way.
Aerospace is getting in my way today. That's okay. Okay. Let me make sure I have it. Brew update is sessions. I've been playing around with this tool a lot and making it a lot better. Introducing a couple of new features. So sessions is this tool where if you just run it, you can immediately start searching all of your sessions that you have from all of your different agents on this machine. I'm pretty much only using Claude, so it probably is only looking in there. But let's say I want to look for John. I don't know. I don't talk to Claude about you. I'm sorry. I guess.
Oh, thank God.
But let's say I want to like use. I've been doing a lot of like Tmux work. Well, here's the sessions where I've been talking about Tmux, and so I can see that, and I can see like, oh, in my dot files, and it will tell me exactly how to get to that. So this was in a Claude demo that no longer exists. But if you just recreate that file, or sorry, that folder, and then resume that session, you can just do that. And I'm right back in to wherever, except it didn't work.
Well, because that, you'd probably have to make that directory first.
Yeah. Make dir -p.
And then CD into it.
Yeah. Then we'll run that. There. Okay. So now I'm right back into that last session. And that's cool and all, but it's not like, that's not the best use of this. So it actually also, you can run sessions setup, and it's going to install a set of skills, but also an MCP into your agents. So that from any session, I can just open up like a session anywhere. Let me just go back to the home directory and say, yes. What session was I talking about Tmux last in? Something like that.
Yep.
And it should trigger the sessions tool. Yep. And then that way I can just ask it questions in the context that I'm in, and it can pull information from that. And so what this does is every time it launches, it figures out where it last, or when it last reindexed, and then reindexes from there to add new data to it. So this was on July 6th, and it talks about where it was and what I was talking about, and I can ask it questions about that, or I can resume that session if I wanted to.
That's awesome.
Straight from here. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But it also does some cool things, and these numbers won't be, this isn't my work computer, so these numbers won't be as glamorous. I don't write a lot of code, but it will, if you run sessions report, it can now generate a running report of how you use the tool.
Yeah. And I think eventually, like I like our relationship because you think of and build all the tools, and then I go in and tweak them the way I want them and help out. So two things. One, I have a skill that kind of does this in the sense of it knows all the machines that I work on, and it will go to each of those machines and run the skill to build out a report. But my report, and I'm not trying to be mean, your report is vanity metrics. My report is more, what is the actual things I worked on type of reporting. So I think that it would be cool if report had that built into it, which was like, these are the sessions that I worked on this week. These were the scope of it, like the context of the work, etc.
We're getting closer to each other.
Yeah.
This is becoming less vanity stuff. Thank you for that derogatory interpretation of it.
Derogatory. These are things that you should be reporting, and that these are things that companies care about. So I totally get that.
I suppose.
Because I mean, but some companies, all companies, this is changing drastically, and it changes week after week, right? Because there was a period where companies cared about your spend because they wanted you to be spending more. I
Mhm.
think we're quickly becoming to the other end, which is companies care about your spend because they want you to not be spending as much as you're spending.
Probably.
There's still companies in the middle that are just like, "Yep, this is what I want you to be doing."
Mhm.
So no, these are and this is something that we track really closely, right? If you use, I mean, we're kind of odd because we use both Anthropic teams and we use Bedrock because there's cases where we want to keep things within the AWS land.
Mhm.
So we have to look at multiple places to try and track spend. But no, this is cool.
Yeah. So it does do a little bit more. Like I said, this is my personal machine with my personal account, so it's
Yep.
looking not shocking that the weekend is the strongest for me there.
Yep.
um, but it does tell me by project, like where I'm spending the most time on this machine. And so I can see that. And then to get more towards the metrics that you're looking at or that you're looking for, it does tell me how much money I've saved by the cash,
Right.
like having the cached tokens, which is pretty cool. It tells me where, like, a breakdown of subagents and what they're doing. So, like, out of the ones I can name here, Ideation's Plan Critic, is the third
Yep.
most expensive one. But then it also does tell me what the biggest sessions were, and so I can see that here. And this is getting
That's cool.
closer towards those metrics that you're talking
Yep.
about. But then it does totally do a shareable card so that you can copy this image and just paste it right into Twitter or Blue Sky or wherever you want to paste it. Um, and then to go the opposite way of that completely, you can run sessions wrapped, and you can even add a roast, and it'll use Claude to roast your usage, and it will create a like a Spotify style wrapped of how you use the agents,
That's
um,
cool.
and what you do, and it has a whole bunch of like built-in categories that it does. But then if you do the roast piece, I'm interested to see what it'll say for this here. Yeah, I went 34 days with nothing. That's just because this is my personal account. I interrupted a lot. That's cool. Uh-huh. Oops. I just want to get to
Mm.
the longest single message. My word of the year is possible. Interesting. $587 and 28 million tokens for 26 days of work. Interesting. Peak hours 10 a.m. Pasted 214,000 characters. 100% cache hit rate. Not one original thought all year. Oh, this is the best. I love it. You didn't want an agent, you wanted permission. Amazing. So my name, and this is the same one as on my work machine, the rapid prototyper, because I jump between so many projects.
No, that makes sense.
But it also creates an image, and you can customize it however you want,
That's cool.
and share it in different ways, and then copy that and go. So yeah, fun. I can't wait to run it at the end of the year and see what the actual numbers are. That'll be cool.
Now, is it tracking what you would have paid? It's not. It's like you're on a subscription, so
Yeah.
it's just tracking. This is what it would have cost.
Yes.
Oh, that's
And I
good.
can tell you, I'm on the $100 max subscription from Claude
Yep.
personally, and over 2026, I've spent, I guess, over $600, right? And
You're
I'm
wasting your
very
money.
close to getting there, but it
Yeah,
would
you
have been
need to.
cheaper if I just paid for the tokens.
I need to look at mine because I'm pretty sure I am. I try to like. There are times I don't do this often, but there are times where I'm like, I got to stay up until 11 so I can kick off another 5 hour work stream while I'm asleep.
That's where you just need a Pi, or sorry,
Yeah, yeah.
OpenClaw or something, to go do that for you.
We can talk a little bit about that. I'm
Okay, I
slowly
do. I
I
want to hear
because I'm
about
not
this.
gonna use F and Claw or anything like that because that doesn't use my subscription, Nick. I'm gonna use all the subsidization I can before I
Yeah.
start wasting any of my money.
Well, I did want to point out sessions.engineering if you want to play with sessions or learn more about what it's doing and how it works.
Yep, this is
And then you
another
can just
cool
go get it
tool.
from them.
I have not been using Sessions the way I should be. I need to to use it more. There are definitely things that I'm not using in it that are like, what was the memory thing? I bet that's something that
Oh
I
yeah.
probably actually want to use quite a bit.
I didn't even talk about that at all. And it's going to be terrible, like I said, on this machine, just because I have like nothing. I don't do a lot of development when I'm not on my work machine. But let me do like memory. And what this will do, user memory, I'll say project memory. And so this open, what the heck did it do?
Looks like it opened your dot files memory.
It did. It opened claude.md. Oh, wait. Oh, I see what I did. Memory. This is a bad thing. Memory is a built-in one.
Yeah.
Sessions memory is the one I wanted. Yeah. But what this is going to do is it just analyzes your past sessions in this project, or you can do for the user, like across all of your projects. And then it's going to say like, oh, you tend to tell me to do this a lot or whatever. Should I save that as a memory? And it does it
Oh
in an
yeah.
out of band way. That's not
Good.
Claude memories, because I don't really like Claude memories all that much.
As
Um,
long as as long as it remembers that it should do that going forward, that's all I care about.
mhm.
Because there's something that I don't know how many times I've had to yell at Claude now about a couple of things, and I've told it to remember it many times, and it doesn't seem to do it. One, when you're doing a code review, I want a table of all the things you found in the severity, and I have to constantly tell it to
Mm,
remember that. The other thing is every time it's like, "Hey, I want you to go run these commands," because sometimes there's, like, things I wanna do on my own because I have to make sure that an AWS profile is in place, those types of things. It gives me the freaking commands in a way that will break fish shell, even though it knows I used the fish shell, and I have to tell it I'm like, "I keep going back to you because this won't work because it's fish." And it's like, "Oh, yeah, you use fish." Like, why can't you remember that? So maybe it'll this if I run that, it'll go, "You know what? I've had to fix stuff for fish shell 1,000 times, so maybe we should fix that."
yeah. It probably would. And it does do like a it generates a recap of what the type of work you're doing in this project is.
Yeah,
And then it just injects it. And it keeps it very small, and you can turn it off too.
cool.
But that way it kind of like keeps a thread going a little bit between sessions. Which is pretty cool.
Alright, I'll have to play with that.
Yeah. Okay, I did want to, before I forget, because I when we were talking about what we were going to talk about, I totally forgot that I've been playing with OpenClaw again. I turned off Hermes and went back to OpenClaw and have been playing around with it. And you said you're not going to do that, as you just said again.
Yep.
And you said that you've been doing a lot with Claude channels, and I would like to understand what the hell that means, because I've been playing with Claude channels, but not in. It didn't make sense to me from what you were doing.
Okay. So, the first thing I did was what are cloud channels? And cloud channels right now, I think that there's 3 approved channels. I can't remember what the 3rd one is, but I know the 2 that I have connected and used are the ability to talk to a Claude session via iMessage or talk to a Claude session via Discord. There's another one, I can't remember what it is. It's another chat app. Um,
Telegram.
yeah, I knew it was Tele something. So, I essentially have an Obsidian vault called JCOS, and it's
Hmm.
essentially where I store all the things I care about. And I also run a Claude session on top of that. And what I mean by run a Claude session on top of that is I literally go into my vaults directory and then start Claude code there, right?
Hmm.
And uh, Claude Code has a bunch of skills that know how to deal with the Obsidian Vault and things I do within that vault, etc. And all the projects that I'm working across both work and personal, there's some representation of that within that vault, right? So that Claude session is essentially my centralized brain. Let's just put it that way. So I wanted to be able to interact with that from my phone. Now, obviously, I could just turn on remote control, right? I could do remote control, but I that's not as it's fine, but I preferred trying Discord, etc. So I tried iMessage, don't like it, just the way it works. So then I got Discord connected. So then for the 2 weeks that I've had it, when I'd go on my walks in the morning, I'd essentially be dictating to Discord. It'd send the message. I'd get a notification that that it had responded, but of course it wouldn't actually read the entire thing because the Siri response notification response limited to what it will read by essentially what's in the notification. The notifications are like 100 characters. I can't remember the full thing. So then while I'm walking, I have to open Discord, look at it. It's not in read, right? Which it's fine. I would end up slowing down. I notice my pace, my walks would slow down, which is not great. So what I wanted was the ability to one dictate into my Claude Code session, and then when it responds, have that response read to me. So while I was walking, I essentially told Claude Code to go off on us in a sub agent and start building out this iOS app and a voice channel that just build a channel that into Claude Code. So
Mhm.
now I essentially have an iOS app that is absolutely bare bones, and it's a big pile of trash right now because I haven't iterated on it at all. But what it will do is it will connect to Claude Code, my Claude Code session. That in my case, I have to start with the I forget what it's called dash dash dangerous blah 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 channel
Hmm.
because this is not a channel that I've pushed into a marketplace that's approved by Claude or by
Yeah.
Anthropic. I don't know if they would actually approve this type of thing because it's technical. Because essentially what I'm doing is I now have a voice assistant who knows all the things I have, and eventually my goal is that I have a plug-in on my by the way, this is I'm connecting to this via Tailscale, right? So when I'm out and about on my walks, I'm connected to my home network via Tailscale. So that is how it knows how to still build the WebSocket, which is the channels are WebSockets, into the Claude Code session that's running on my machine. My next step is beyond making the iOS app better is building a plugin that essentially knows how to either one expose itself to that Claude Code session, or essentially it's another channel or something to where when I'm talking to my personal JCOS Claude Code session, which is my machine's up and running all the time, and that Claude Code session is always running, I can essentially tell it, hey, this project at work that I have going, I need you to go do X, Y, and Z on it, right? And
Mhm.
it will know how to, oh, well, I know that your Arbor laptop is this address on Telescale, and I know that you have a Cloud Code instance that running over there. That's the piece I still need to build out. I'm going to go tell it to start digging into that project, right? So then I mean, it's not as convenient as OpenClaw, et cetera, but I feel like I have more control over exactly what it's doing, et cetera, right? And then within the Cloud Code session, I already have loops running. Now, the thing that sucks with loops is obviously if I want to shut that session down and restart it because I either maybe I rewrote an MCP server that I need to get a new version of, or I just want to get Claude updated and restarted. I have to go back and rerun those loops because they're going to be killed when I kill that session off.
Mhm.
You can run schedule, but it's not going to have that literally runs in the cloud. It's not going to have access to any of the things you want, right? That's
Mhm.
the other reason why I'm not a huge fan of doing this in the Cloud Desktop app with like Cloud Cowork, et cetera, because it's still not all the connections that it has. It's not as powerful as Cloud Code, right?
Yeah.
The other benefit to this is that I do all of this within the context of a Cloud Code session that is logged in and is using my subscription within Anthropic's use cases. At least I think. Right. I'm not launching Claude P, sending it a command, etc. So we'll see how it goes. so far I've been super happy. I, take my walks and I can essentially plan my day, or look, it's already running things for me so the day's planned, but I can come up with an idea and have it off and running, multiple things while I'm walking.
Mhm.
Like I said, the one thing is getting it connected to my other machine that's on the same network that has context to work projects, and that I think that'll be pretty easy to do.
So the I didn't fully follow this part, and that's if you're out on a walk, right?
Yep.
And you have a brand new idea. Does it have to
Yep.
be an idea that you already have a channel set up for, like
Nope.
in X
It's just
project?
I use the same. There's one channel that I'm talking to my essentially brain, the
Mhm.
JCOS Claude Code session,
Okay.
and right now the language I use to ensure that I essentially say in a sub agent, I want you to go do X, Y, and Z, right?
Mhm.
Because obviously at some point in time, I'm gonna have to either one go in and personally clear that, run a clear, or something to clear out the context of this ongoing brain session, right?
Yeah.
There's some level of management there that it's slowly building up context that I want to clear out, and I'll essentially just do a handoff, run a clear, and then have it read have it read the handoff with the one or two things that we've talked about over the last few days that are
Mhm.
important, so it
Mhm.
drops the rest. But when I'm talking to that single session, but when I have a like when I said, hey, I want to build out, when I wanted to research this thing, because at first I just had the built-in Discord channel
Yeah.
talking to my JCOS. When I was talking to it about building out this project, I didn't have a directory created. I didn't have a repo or anything. Essentially, what I said was, first, I want you to go. Here's my idea. Do some research on it, and create an Obsidian note so that way I can go read over what you had thoughts on and stuff when I get back, etc. I think the next morning is when I was like, "Hey, I actually want to go build this." And what I said was, "Hey, in a sub agent under my developer directory, I want you to go create a project that has the backend TypeScript server for the channel that's going to be deployed into Cloud Code,
Mhm.
and I want you to create the iOS application, and I want you to build all this in a sub agent." So I kicked off a sub agent, freed up its channel, and it was doing that. And then I was just talking to it about other things.
Okay. That sounds interesting. Hmm.
So there's really my goal is I have a single channel into this Claude Code session, and then that Claude Code session has either things it knows how to connect to all the other things that I care about.
Got it.
Like I've taken all the Obsidian MCP implementations, and there were two of them that I liked. There was a Python one that used the local REST API plugin from Obsidian, and there's a TypeScript one that was like, nope, I'm doing everything with the file system. I like both of them because if for some reason it can't talk to Obsidian, the one that uses the local file system can still do stuff. But I prefer that you use the local REST API plugin, because that way when you do things, and also you have access to commands within Obsidian to actually go do some of the things that Obsidian can do. But when you do it that way, Obsidian Sync and everything automatically just works, right? It knows that a change occurred. So I actually did just rewrite the TypeScript one to do everything that the Python one was doing. And if it fails hitting the REST API, then just do what you were doing before and talking to the file system directly. So that way it doesn't fail, because like part of my daily briefing is an email triage command, and that email triage reads a note that I maintain in Obsidian of, here's the filter of email addresses I care about, and here's the maintained filter of the email addresses that you can absolutely just archive, like I don't care about them, or their
Mm.
noise, and it has opinions on if something should go under noise. But anyways, this is like this is my brain. This is my open Claude. That Claude Code session is my open Claude. Now I'm just making better ways to, one, for me to be able to connect into it and interact with it, but then ways for it to also interact with all the tools I have. I just now want to add a way for it to interact with a Claude session on another machine, and I'm almost positive I could do this. Like I should be able to create a channel on the Arbol code, the Arbol Claude code session, that my Claude code is literally the channel, right? When it connects, it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to connect this WebSocket and I'm going to feed it
Oh
this.
yeah.
I'm going to feed it stuff via the channel.
Yeah.
So it's not as, I will say that I don't think it's as flexible as OpenClaw, right? Because with OpenClaw, you could technically, there's a ton of plugins. There's also a ton of scary things out there from, if you're security minded, right? Like I could probably go write a plugin right now to steal people's shit, right? That's just the reality of it. That's just where we're at right now. But this just gives me a little bit more control, and two, it lets me continue to do all this within the subsidized account that I have, because I can't afford to do all this with actual API token usage. I would spend thousands of dollars a month. I'm not going to do that. I don't have money to do that, to be quite frank.
Yeah. Yeah. I have been playing with OpenRouter as a way to do that with my OpenClaw.
Right.
So I'm using more open models that are cheaper, much cheaper.
And that's something. So this, obviously, this is the thing that's huge in the news right now with Kimi K3 coming out. I have not looked at that in depth yet. I know when GLM 5.2 came out, it kind of had the same buzz. Where it's like, oh my god, it's amazing! It does just as well as Claude Opus 4.8, and the tokens are way cheaper. I did find a couple of research projects that essentially reported back. I don't have my history of research on this, but while yes, the tokens were cheaper, and yes, you would see some savings, but the number of turns that GML 5.2 had to do to solve the same problem negated most of the cost savings on the tokens. Not all. It was still cheaper, but you were having to spend more tokens to solve the same problem. Right. So you weren't getting the full. I haven't looked at if anybody what research people have done in this realm on Kimi K3, right? But yeah, like AWS Bedrock should be having a version of Kimi K3 that's available pretty soon, because they're it's an open source model and they're putting out their open weights. But you can use OpenRouter, like you said, and that was something I was going to look at. And if I did use if I use Pi, at least on a personal level, or if I use something like Hermes or OpenClaw when I'm doing any kind of research, then I would go that route, because you're going to be able to either use a open source model in my local machine, which is going to be pretty crap because it's going to be all the old ones because I don't have enough RAM, or you use OpenRouter to essentially get access to those cheaper open source models.
Yeah.
How much do you roughly? Do you know how much you're spending roughly a month? Or have you may not have been doing it long enough to really have an idea, but
yeah, it's about $6 a day is where OpenClaw is now that I've like revamped it.
Yeah.
And that's running Sonnet 5. Yeah, Sonnet 5. Before that, I had Hermes going, and I went like 3 months on $100 credit. Like it was not terrible. But again, I didn't have it doing a whole lot. It was mostly like running cron jobs that I didn't end up caring about. So I turned them off. But now I'm trying to have it do more and drive more and actually like be in more places where my work gets done. And so it is creeping up there. Like I said, it's like $6 a day usually, but that is still with Sonnet 5. I basically have it bookmarked to look into OpenRouter and get it switched over and see, how much would it be to run that. And like when I wanted to actually like do coding and stuff, I want it to act as the human driving Claude code. and have Claude Code do the work, or Pi or something. But
Yep.
that way I'm using that subscription for where it matters, and I can use things like Opus 5. And
Yep.
I want the beefy model for that. It doesn't need to be a beefy model to route my email in places or set up a
Yep.
calendar invite. So yeah, cutting corners in that way is kind of the path that I'm looking into right now.
That's the piece that I need to work on. Like I said, and the that's the thing that's been just so beneficial to using my Cloud Code session is that one, like, at the end of the day, if I actually want to go, if I want to sit down and interact with that project like I normally do, which is at the actual Cloud terminal,
Mm-hmm.
it's there, right? Even it's like I literally with this one, I literally just, I think two days after I had conversations with it, because I iterated on it like 2 days without actually even looking at it or even trying to use it through the Discord channel, right? And then I finally got some time, and I just came to the session at my computer. I was like, "Hey, we were talking about this project. Where is it? What do I need to go do to interact with it?" And it was like, "Oh yeah, go here, run this command, and put in this prompt, and you'll be right where the sub agent left off." Right. So that's one of the you could do. To be fair, you can do that with any, like, it doesn't matter what you did it right did anything with, right? You can technically go to a place on your directory, start up a fresh session of any freaking harness, and go figure out where we're at and stuff, and it's going to come back with a generally pretty good idea of, yeah, this is what this is, and this is what my thoughts are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. This has been I I tried to use OpenClaw, all that stuff before, and it wasn't. And this was a different point in my time in my life with AI, right? So it probably not apples to apples or oranges to oranges, whichever freaking term you're supposed to use. But I don't know. I every morning I'm excited to get up and go on a walk and freaking talk to my thing about, hey, what are the things I have to do today? What's important? What did we accomplish? And if I have an idea, hey, go try to do this thing while I'm thinking about it, and let me talk to you about it. And I'm not sitting at a computer doing it, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
walking around. And you can do
Okay.
that with Discord. I thought it was
Yeah,
fun to do it where my phone's talking back to me.
I agree, and that's cool. And I have the same thing set up, and I didn't have to do anything,
Right.
so it's less cool in that sense. But um, OpenClaw has an iPhone app now,
Oh yeah.
and it literally like walks you through it's so easy. It walks you through setting up the interface so that not just your computer, but OpenClaw specifically is available on your tailnet, and then that way it can
Yeah. Yeah.
get back to your machine. And then I was like, oh, I want to go and set up a voice mode for it so I can actually do the same thing, like have a conversation. And I wanted to use like the real-time voice stuff so I can interrupt it and
Yep.
do all of that. And I was like, oh yeah, it's already set up.
Yeah,
Like in the app, it's just there, and it just works, and it's actually pretty sweet.
that's the area where, like, I've made one change to the iOS app since I first started it, because like it wouldn't reconnect when I left the app, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, I gotta restart it and restart it was just stupid stuff like that. And also, like, the voiceovers that you have access to on an iOS are trash.
Yes.
And I had to go download some of the it's downloading a premium one, right? It's still free on Apple, but you have to literally go, "Oh, there's this these aren't your Siri voices," right? The Siri voices are actually pretty okay. They're not horrible.
Let me ask real quick: are you running the beta? Is this part of like the
No,
new?
I'm not on the beta.
Okay.
But the old school, I'm gonna read stuff to you, uh, OS, Mac OS voice, or sorry, iOS voices. Those are available, and there are some premium ones that you have to
Mm-hmm.
literally go into the setting and say, "Hey, I want you to download this, and I want you to use it." They sound okay. They're not great. So if I ever put more effort into this to where I was like, I'm going to pay for something, like I'm okay paying a couple of dollars a month or something, I would get like 11 Labs or some other thing in interface to be able to say, okay, use their voiceover, because it won't sound like, it's not horrible, but it's not great. Like, there are some that are like, most of them you pick, it's like, this is a fucking robot or this is a frog robot, or like what is going on? They're atrocious,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's still usable.
Uh,
And I think the next thing I'm going to change is right now it reads back everything, and it's like no, I want the what's being returned is should be smart enough to go. You should read this, and then this should just be displayable in the app that he can actually look at. Right? I don't want you to read me a code block, and I don't want you to try and read me a markdown table, but I do want you to give me some kind of like this, and this, and this. Sorry, in this case, you're going to have to actually look at this table or whatever.
yeah.
I mostly I'm doing this because I can and
Hmm.
because uh, I don't have to write the code.
Yeah.
Right? That's just the beauty of it. Like you have these ideas, you go do it, and it may be something that makes sense, or maybe it doesn't. But I didn't. It's not like I wasted a ton of time, and I'm not going to waste my own money. Other than I'm paying Anthropic a set amount a month, and that's what I want to continue to do.
Yeah. Oh, it's really cool.
What else you got going on, Nick?
Um, well, the other thing I'm doing is more, I guess, work related, and it's a lot of fun. I kind of took over another project at work. I've been talking to you. We've talked before in the past about Case,
Yep.
for example. Case is a like a tool to. It's an agent harness, but it's supposed to write code in the way that I would write code, and tackle work in the way that I would. It's like a miniature without a sandbox. It runs all locally, type thing, and yeah, um, it's pretty cool, but it does only work like it's very like single player,
Yep.
and it's named Case because that was the other robot in Interstellar. That's because there's another project at work called TARS, and it's like the Big Brother. It's doing more. It's sandboxed and runs out in the cloud, and it's got a Slack agent and all of that. And so I took it over, or not took it over, but started playing with it and started contributing to it and rewrote the web UI for it, and like got a pretty sweet setup where I can run it all locally. That's one cool thing about the Cloudflare stack, by the way, is like it's using Cloudflare sandboxing and D1 and all of that, for and like workers and stuff for how it actually behaves,
Yep.
and you can just with like a single command run all of that locally, simulating it with Docker. It's using like SQLite for the D1 store, and like just very easy, fun stuff. And I even got it set up to where I can run. You can do like a direct socket connection for a Slack bot. So I have like a
Yep.
Nictar's Slack bot that specifically talks to my locally running instance of it, which is pretty sweet. So I can do like rapid development on it, and talk to it in Slack.
Yeah.
Um, so that's pretty fun. And yeah, it's just like such a fun area to be developing in. Like, what can we do with like when we build a highly customized agent to solve our actual problems, and not just that, but give it the tools that we would use to solve the problems ourselves. Like it
Right.
can go far, and with these models especially, like it's crazy how good it is.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Mm.
That's these are going to be. This is such a huge area because, especially even just security,
Mm-hmm.
and what I mean by that is like literally just having some ongoing agent that is constantly validating the security of your application, right?
Yes.
Because I mean, there's a lot of companies now coming out in this area where they're essentially following a very similar route, um, as existing security companies, which are, well, we will do the scans for you, or we have a tool that automates the scan, and then we add on our expertise, etc. And now with AI layered into that, they're not I don't want to say dime a dozen. That's such a negative connotation. But there's a lot of those out there now.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is I think it's the same thing with SaaS, where it's like there's a problem at your company that you are either paying for, you could pay for somebody to do it, or you might just be able to stand up your own set of tools that and automate it with AI to where your specific problem is solved, and it's not, not there's not it's not a maintenance nightmare, or there's not a ton of overhead in that realm. And that's just, I think that's going to be an area that's going to be huge.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's wild. And it's fun, and there's a lot of hard work, and like that's where the I don't know, that's where the fun is right now. Is building that factory and
Yeah.
building the workflows. And I do see like ideation and dad as being like two experiments that could propel that. Like they could be built in to that.
That's what I was talking about before. The pyramid of where we're important
Yeah.
is ideation's the piece up front,
Yeah.
trying to figure out what it is and how, and is did we clearly define well enough the target goal, so
Yeah.
that when we send this thing off to do our bidding, and it spins for hours, when it comes back we're not surprised with the results. And then two, dad is the ability to do the other end of that, is like, okay, now let's look at the results in a contextual way that helps me understand all the changes and what it seems to have been trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I really dig those two tools.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been working. I've obviously been working slowly on the ideation piece, because my use case is a little bit different in the sense that I often run ideation and then have to send the output to someone else
Mm-hmm.
to verify. So I'm trying to build in some kind of service that allows you to share that, so they can have direct feedback into it.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see where that goes. It's so clunky right now that I can't figure out if it's going to be useful or not. But it might be a slightly more useful in certain cases than just sending the HTML to somebody. And I did that multiple times this week again. So it's definitely a pattern that I see myself using.
Yeah. And I was thinking about this because I saw other people kind of talking about it. And I've noticed it with Claude too. I'll ask Claude, I'll be working on something that's not necessarily ideation.
Yeah.
And I'm working on it. And then I'll just be like, hey, spit this out as HTML. Like I had, someone at my work like posted something similar or in the realm of what we're doing with TARS, and I just had Claude do like a comparison.
Yeah.
And like tell me, and then I was like, okay, generate me an HTML page that shows me like in depth where we are better, where they're better, what we could do to close that gap, like what we should immediately steal, things like that,
Yeah.
And it created a Claude.ai / some random UUID artifact. They call them
Yep.
artifacts. And then that was viewable to anyone within my organization, my WorkOS organization, which is pretty sweet.
I don't know
I
if
like
you
that
saw
idea.
that it might have been viewable to anybody with Google.
It's okay. I mean, for me, like everything I have is open.
I know,
I
and
do is
that
open source. I don't care.
I knew I had that in my was ready to pull out as soon as you started talking about, because I was like, oh yeah, this is we can't. I mean, it's what we found out. We found out a few things about Anthropic teams that were slightly like, a lot of people signed up for Anthropic teams with their work email,
Mm-hmm.
thought they were in the org, not in the org, and and stuff. And it's just like, oh my god, there's so many more security things that you have to pay attention to with this. And the fact that I didn't pay a ton of attention, because one, I wasn't I hadn't shared anything this way, and I wasn't even clear on what it was. But apparently, I guess if you were using the Claude desktop, and I think it was just the Claude desktop, and you're like, oh, I want to share this artifact with somebody. And when you essentially did that, it was just like, yeah, this is open to the public. People on Google can actually find it. Did you see that?
I did not. That's crazy.
Yeah, not great.
Oh my gosh. But like, I wonder if that is like a better. I was just thinking about that. Like, not necessarily a. There's so many times where I want like some kind of shared artifact, and I may or may not want it to be internal or external.
Right.
So is what you're trying to build actually like an open artifacts sharing system, or
Kind
is
of.
it?
I mean, in the case of what I'm trying to build with ideation, it's literally It doesn't even at the end of the day, it doesn't. While I'm currently trying to make it look and feel like the contract.html that you spit out, all it cares about is the contract.json that you generated, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that is what's shipped to a that is what's shipped to an API,
Mm-hmm.
and then that API allows, then you can share, then it gives you essentially a URL, and you can send that URL to people, and they can go to that URL, and it's open, much like it's like a Google Drive link that you literally, like, anybody with link can view and do stuff. And then what happens is they hit that URL and they put in who they are and an email address, and then they essentially see an interactive web app of the data that was in that contract.json, which is essentially, hey, I ideated, I answered these questions. Here's the goals, and here's the implementation plan, and what's included and what wasn't included, and et cetera, right? And they can provide feedback on that. They can literally click in the field and go, no, I don't actually, this is wrong. You should have changed this, right?
Yeah.
What I'm doing right now is I'm literally taking your contract.html output, sending that HTML file to somebody either via email or iMessage or Slack, depending on what context I'm working in, right? If it's a personal project, half the time it's iMessage, but at work, I'm literally pasting this into Slack, saying, "Hey, go look at this and tell me what you think." What I prefer is just to send them a link, and they can actually go in and iterate and say, "Yeah, I reviewed this. It looks good. This implementation. This was because a lot of cases either they gave me a project and I am implementing changes for it or operationalizing it, or they gave me an idea. They said, "Hey, I have this idea. I have this thing. Can you build it?" I had then done some ideation on it. I want their input. It's important. They're the stakeholder. They know, in some cases they know what the thing was they wanted, and did I capture it properly? And does this and this allows them to have input
Yeah.
into that piece before I tell Claude, yeah, this plan is good. Go write the specs to implement it so we can move forward. So yeah, that's what it's trying to be. It is like I said, slightly clunky right now, but we'll see where
Yeah.
it goes.
Nice.
Cool,
Cool.
man. Well, I'm glad that we finally got to catch up again. I know it's been
Yeah.
a few weeks with travel and everything going on.
Yeah. But you should be back next week. Are you traveling?
I am not traveling next week, as far as I know right now.
Cool. Me neither, but the week after, I am. So yeah, we'll keep the train going. But there'll be a lot more to talk about, I think, as we go. And yeah, I'm pretty excited to work with you on these different projects and kind of fleshing them out more. I'm super excited to dig into your ideas around improving dad more.
Yeah.
Specifically, like, let me auto approve stuff that I don't really need to be involved in. It's a great
Cool.
idea.
I think this could be super helpful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Well, it
Love
was
it.
good talking to you, man.
Yep. Take care.
Later.